Luther was sitting on a roof, having a smoke and looking for nothing in specific. "Do you mind if I join you?" A tall man with a deep voice spoke next to him. A soft breeze blew through the red-brown overcoat, and a pair of golden eyes glowed in the shadow of the fedora's broad brim. There was no threat coming from the stranger, even if he was obviously not human. "Of course," Luther replied casually, with his eyes following the stranger's every movement. Taking a cigarette from his own pack, the stranger lit it and sat down. He puffed away in silence for a while, and after cautious consideration, the vampire felt safe enough to go back to minding his own business. "Make sure they never have to end up in hell." The stranger spoke with a voice revealing his sympathies for someone in Luther's care. Putting two and two together, he kept the conversation going. "How you have fallen from heaven, O star of the morning, son of the dawn! But they say you are blonde." "I was," Lucifer answered without any alarm. "But times change, as do we, and the outer appearance tends to reflect one's inner workings." Luther took a closer look at the King of Hell. Occult spoke with nothing but respect when he spoke about the fallen angel, but the demon had also been afraid that his king could find him, back then when he had escaped hell to find Raphaelin. Lucifer wasn't intimidating in a threatening way. There was an air of superiority about him. He seemed strangely human as well as old and otherworldly. Had he been looking for his lost demon all that time? "It took you a year to find them?" "I'm a busy man," Lucifer defended himself. "I can't distinguish one mortal from another. It took me and Michael to find them. We almost assumed the worst." A crooked smile showed on the devil's face. "I'm glad everything went well. From all the people he could have run into, you were a very good choice." "Are you sure?" Luther challenged his visitor. The devil stopped smoking to look at the vampire. His eyes showed a questioning look. "I met Nithux." Luther tried to keep out the bitterness without success. "He has my eyes, and Hale called me your experiment." He stared into the golden eyes with defiant anger before he uttered his accusations. "Is that what I am? A product of your amusement?" The words sounded harsher than Luther had intended. He was too confused to keep his emotions in order. He felt betrayed by Lucifer, even if the devil hadn't been the one to take away his humanity. Lucifer's eyes widened slightly, and his voice showed a hint of guilt when he answered in the same calm tone from before. "No. If anything, the vampires are a product of my futile efforts to quieten my regrets." The vampire didn't know how to react to that statement. As old as he was, the fallen angel seemed to be confused himself, regretful even. Letting the cigarette fall into the alley below, Lucifer adjusted his head. "You see," he started rather shy, as if he had difficulties finding the right words. "There was a time when my inexperienced soul was in turmoil." He looked up to reassure himself of Luther's attention. The vampire still stared, but the fire of wrath had died down at the sight of the troubled entity. "It was then when I met a distraught man by the name of Vlad, better known as Count Dracula to you. He was desperate, begging me to help in his hopeless fight to save his home and his people." "Vlad was a fighter?" "He once was. I met him again, in fact, not that long ago. We had a falling out and suffered heavy casualties." "Fighting the devil? I can only imagine." Lucifer gave him a half-hearted smile at the compliment. Staring over the rooftops, he returned to his original story. "After searching and thinking and a bit of dark luck, I found out about Nithux, the dragon who was said to be immortal and invincible. I think he knew what he would unleash, because he gave me his tainted blood without any trials of the mass, despite his bitterness." Silence followed, in which the devil gathered his thoughts again. "With his blood and the art of the occult, I managed to turn Vlad into a human version of Nithux." An invincible warrior as far as I knew, but also a creature lusting for blood and able to spread the curse. Not just able, Luther growled. He's obsessed with his plan of increasing the number of his kind and cruel towards anyone he can't use. I know. The devil scratched his head, still avoiding his eyes. What am I supposed to do with that, Lucifer? I was hoping for clarification, calling me evil or good. I can't give you that. No one can. Their eyes locked at the last words. This doesn't mean you are evil, Lucifer added. Even if your powers might come from an evil source, they don't have to bring suffering. Nothing is completely black or white. We are shrouded in many colors. Luther nodded in acknowledgement. It was the same that Wilpe kept saying. His powers didn't make him a monster. He was what he was, and he used it to keep safe what mattered to him, like any other creature. He mustered the devil for a minute. You look strangely human for being the king of hell. I was an archangel. Our powers of deception are greater than those of an ordinary angel. Lucifer was already getting up to leave when Luther spoke again. I think Occult would appreciate a few kind words from his king. The devil chuckled with sincere amusement. I'll take care of that. Don't worry. I'll always be around in one way or another. Can't leave that little troublemaker alone for too long. Turning into a raven, the devil disappeared into the night as silently as he had come. Luther kept staring into the distance for a while to think about what Lucifer told him. When dawn approached, he still sat on the roof. With a sigh, he got up and stretched his body. Something lightning fast crossed the sky far in the distance. It was gone quickly enough to let the vampire doubt his senses. Luther smiled to himself. The proverb, being watched by angels, had suddenly taken on a wholly different meaning. He jumped down into the abandoned alley as the life of the day started to wake up in Liverpool. The fresh morning air washed over him, urging him to take a deep breath. It was a busy, dirty city close to the shore, but it was his dirty city. And now, since he had started to turn part of his land into a garden full of trees and bushes for Wilpe and Yasushi, none of them wanted to leave either. He would give them the nature they desired without them having to roam the wilderness. Occult and Räfelin were working hard to make that business of his strong. One day they wouldn't have to worry about anything in the human world that required wealth. He had protected them from the one thing he would never be able to fight with a sword. And he would protect Occult and Räfelin as well. As long as they stuck together, the world could go under and he wouldn't mind.